it's literally the case that if you're engaged in something that's engaging and you're working towards a goal, that you're going to feel less pain. And you can see this happening with athletes who, they'll break their thumb or something, or maybe sometimes even their ankle, and they'll keep playing the game. Of course, afterwards, they're suffering like mad, but the fact that they're so filled with goal-directed enthusiasm means that, well, the pain systems are in some sense shut off. So that's an interesting thing, because then you could imagine, I might say, well, how happy are you that you've made a certain amount of progress? And if you think about it, what you'd say is, well, it depends on how much progress and in relationship to what. So hypothetically, you're going to be happier if you've made quite a bit of progress towards a really important goal. And then you have to think through what it means for a goal to be really important, because that's not obvious.
What you want is important. What you want will pull. What you want is like a magnet. Here's what I want. That's powerful, what you want. Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. I'll do it or die. What do you want? Now, but here's the other part. What for? Here's what I want, but what for? What is the purpose? First is the object, is what you want. Second is the purpose. You might have said, I want $1 million home. That's wonderful. That'll pull. But here's what'll pull even stronger. What for? What for? And if you could describe more in detail to stir the emotion and the intellect and the spirit and the soul, here's why, here's what for, then it's the what for that's even more powerful than the what. What you're going to do with this home, the drama, the scene. Here's what I can see happening every day. Here's what I can see happening every week. It's going to be the centerpiece of the family activity. Here's what's going to go on. Here's the sense it's going to give me and my family. Here's what it's going to do for us. See, the purpose is what's really powerful, what's really strong. Not just the what, not just the structure, but the purpose. The purpose is the life. The purpose is the life force, the activity, the drama of what's going on. So if you can learn to do that, here's what I want and here's why. Here's what for. Armstrong just wins, all right? His 6th yellow jersey. It'd be a good question to ask him. What for, Lance? What was all this for? Well, 1 was to prove to myself. 1, after I beat cancer. Now can I do 6? This is one of the most amazing athletes in the world. And if you had a chance to talk to him and you finished the conversation, when you walked away, you would say, wow, now I understand why he did it. And now I understand how he did it. Now he give me a sense of what drove him. Here's why, here's what for. Wow, when someone finishes that discourse, you say, no wonder the performance was extraordinary. No wonder the achievement was out of sight. Here was what for and here was the purpose. See, that's important. Talk that over with your children. What do you want and what for? What's it going to do for you? How's it going to make you feel? Then what's the next step beyond that? Once you've achieved that, now what?
You're in this class and you're listening to some information, and maybe there's 2 reasons for that. You might find the information interesting per se, but let's forget about that for a minute. You need to listen to the information so that you can do well on the assignments, so that you can do well in the class. You need to do well in your classes so that you can finish up your degree. You need to finish up your degree so that you can find your place in the world. You need to do that so that you're financially stable and maybe you can start a family and have a life, and that's all part of being a good person, something like that. And so that's a hierarchy of goals, and you might say that being a good person would be the thing, however vaguely thought through, that's at the top of that hierarchy. And then when you're doing things that serve that ultimate purpose, then you're going to find those more meaningful, and that meaning is actually produced as a consequence of the engagement of this exploratory circuit that's nested right down in your hypothalamus. It's really, really old. It's as old as thirst, and it's as old as hunger. It's really an old system. And so you want to have that thing activated.
Okay. So purpose is stronger than object. Here's the next one now. On your goals, a lot of your goals need to be personal development, the person you wish to become. positions of authority, position of influence. Being able to influence not only your family, but others, community influence, national influence. There's a whole debate now on who best influences the country and who could best influence the military and who could best influence the economy and who could best influence the other nations of the world and the leaders of the world. Who has the strongest and most powerful influence? Who could become a giant in terms of influence by language, by style, by background, by reputation? The person you wish to become. Not just the center of attention, but perhaps the center of activity. Someone who can give directions, someone who can give people, the right tips on early steps to take to build a career, to build a business. A person of supreme confidence that what they share is good and valuable. It's great to be that kind of person. There's a unique story of Lydia Colon, who started with $1 from the Spanish-speaking community in Miami. And now she's a millionaire, does business in several countries, and she's rich. And as she looked back over her story and how she got started, she was sponsored in business by someone. And here is her answer, part of the answer. I was sponsored and instructed and helped by the right person. If that hadn't occurred, I may never have had this opportunity, or I wouldn't have gone this far, or it wouldn't have been this easy for me to do. But thank God, she says, I found the right person. Wow. So jot this down. One of the greatest wishes and desires for all of us should be to be the right person. So that when somebody looks back, they'll say, wow, I could have met 100 people, but I met this person. I want to be that person. That when people look back, say, wow, one of the reasons for my success, I met the right person that gave me the right instructions, that didn't lead me astray, that gave me the straight talk, told it like it was. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. It's incredible what you can become. And my mentor said, Mr. Rohn, now that you live in America, you've been to college 1 year, you've been working 6 years, so you have some experience, and you have a family and all the reasons to do it. Here's what he said. Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? Because we were talking economics. He said, set a goal to become a millionaire. So I thought it had to do only with economics. But here was the completion, and if you can get this, this is worth the price of the weekend. He said, set a goal to become a millionaire for what it will make of you to achieve it. See, that philosophy changed my life. He didn't say set a goal to become a millionaire for the $1 million. He said the $1 million is automatic, but set the goal to become a millionaire for what it will make of you to achieve it, for the person you would have to become. Knowledgeable, understanding the marketplace, learning to improvise, overcoming difficulties, solving problems, bringing value to the marketplace, all the stuff you must learn and do and become to be a millionaire. He said, if you do it right, that's what's important, to become a millionaire. He said, then once you get the $1 million, you could just give it away, because what's really valuable is not what you got, but what you became. I never forgot that. Reasons why. If I really worked hard, if I learned the skills and took on the disciplines, if I could become a millionaire, wouldn't that be extraordinary? That the money wouldn't really be what's important. What would be important is the person I became. Now, jot this down. That's the positive side. Now let me give you the negative side. Since that's what life is since the beginning, positive and negative, the creator and the spoiler, day and night, positive and negative, winning and losing, life and death, darkness and light, health and illness, liberty and tyranny. I mean, this is the human drama for the last 6,000 years. So here it is now, both sides of this ledger. One, see what you can become in pursuit of what you want. Set a goal to become a millionaire for what it will make of you. But now here's the other side. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Those are the two words of antiquity that are important. One is behold, the other is beware. We must do both. We must see the opportunities on one side and we must see the dangers on the other side. We must try to minimize the dangers and maximize the opportunities. That's the game of life. And if you can become that kind of unique person that can sense the dangers, hopefully before, all of us after we've felt the pain and we've traveled the wrong road and we've accepted the wrong influence, sure enough, we find ourselves in a wreck, maybe physically or with our health or with life or with a marriage or whatever. Then we can quickly make the repair and start on a new road. But how much better to have maybe this kind of advice. Behold the opportunity and beware. Okay, now here's part of the beware. Don't sell out for what you want. Don't violate your principles. Don't compromise good friendship. Don't throw away some values just for some objective that maybe has you driven too much. There's an old story that says Judas got the money, a sizable sum of money. You say, well, then that's a success story. No, it was not a success story. Say, well, yes, if you get the money, that is success. No, his name was Judas. Doesn't that ring a bell? This is the story of Judas got the money. It was not a success story, even though it involved a small fortune. Why wasn't it a success story? Because he sold out. It was what Judas became to get the money. Finally, Judas has the money in his hot little hand, and he's unhappy. Somebody says, well, how could you be unhappy if you had a small fortune? Here's why he was unhappy. He wasn't unhappy with the money. He was unhappy with himself. He tried to take the money back and said, here, I'm unhappy. Take this money back. I'm sorry I was the betrayer. They said, heck with you, Judas. And they threw him out with his money. He says, wow, what'll I do now? The only thing he could think of doing. He went out and hanged his worthless self for the betrayer he had become. And it certainly wasn't worth the money. So if Judas could speak back to us loud and clear today in this little seminar session, here's what he might say. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Just a little bit of caution here. One more. Some things I went for in the early days when I discovered the key to wealth and fortune and future. Some things I went for too quickly, too fast, cost me too much. As I look back, I thought, this is more than I wanted to pay. Here's what I thought I wanted, but it cost me too much. So here's a bit of advice, comes from a prophet of old. Count the cost.